or they just kind of said, "Shut up, Carrie," and
let us work.
Let us work. Like I tried. I sat down. And I was like, okay, how do we want to deal with this? How do we want to, get the paperwork together for this? And they're just like, let us do it first, and then we'll figure it out. So
we trust you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna go, stealing away in the night with all rights and properties to what is sort of mine, but not. I mean, that's other artists where, as an artist myself, I would be pissed if I did that. So
yeah, I think one of the things that Carrie Allen and I keep in mind is that there's so much abuse of creatives today that we really don't ever want to become that. So, like, even though these 3 volunteered their talents to help with the one shot, I mean, Carrie Allen and I are always checking ourselves internally. Are we treating these people fairly? Are we being as fair as we possibly can?
Also fairly rare.
Yeah. Right, and like, we always check with them, like, hey, are you okay with the arrangement? Please say so if you aren't. Because, again, I mean, before Kamikaze, I freelanced in graphic design for 5 years, and there was just so many people trying to take advantage. I mean, people don't really realize how much time and effort goes into creating anything. It seems easy from the outside untrained eye, but I never want to fall into the trap of taking advantage of that.
Right.
So we always are very transparent with them.
It's a great cartoon I saw online. It's a graphic designer standing in front of the desk of a client. Client's holding a logo design and says, "This only took you 10 minutes. Why should I pay you 10 grand for this?"
Exactly.
And the artist says, "Because it took me 10 years to learn how to do this in 10 minutes."
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
But when it comes to making sure the business side, another thing that we really wanted to do was, or that we try to give, like, I like the concept of fairly give and fairly take, where it's the idea of, okay, you guys are volunteering for this, and we really appreciate that, and we want to show that appreciation. How can we do that if we can't really get the funding that we want behind this? So that means you come in and we get these guys on a podcast, or that means that we're busting our balls, making sure that they get lifted up within our on our website and our social media. We let everybody know that Dan Jolly and Lisa Kirk and Jamel Jones are working on this, and
we're not shy about giving out that credit.
No, we're not shy about giving out
and like any publicity we can draw them into.
Right.
I mean, like, if it's not monetary compensation, it has to be something else. And
then finding opportunities for them,
and
giving them the platform to find another opportunity that may pay some money.
Exactly.
Of course.
And then I also feed them.
And
food helps.
People keep wondering, how do you keep your team together? I feed them.
Yeah.
She didn't just hire like a writer and 2 hours. She got 3 new pets.
Yeah.
I think another thing is, like, we really, the 3 of us bust our ass to make Kamikaze successful. So, like, if they're gonna attach their name to something, we better make this fucking successful.
Yeah.
Well, then it looks good for them.
Yeah, exactly. So, while we hope, I'm hoping that in the future that we'll be able to do a quick one-shot print-off of Midnight Run, and maybe include your script just the way it is, so you have that behind-the-scenes look at it, and some thumbnails or whatever from Jamel's work. But I would love to print off something like that, and then, because you did the majority of the work, you'd all get shares of it. It's just a matter of figuring out, okay, like right now we're trying to figure out printing processes for episode 1, and how that's going to work, how much it's going to be, what are the logistics that are needed, and once we have that figured out, then our first thing that we'll be doing is Kamikaze, the first episode of Kamikaze. But after that, we will have learned so much more and be able to really do good justice for the one shot that these guys worked on.
Right.
Because I don't want to give them our first try. I want to give them, okay, now we know what we're doing.
So it's a step-by-step process, really. You're taking it step-by-step.
Yeah.
And, because the first thing that comes to my mind, again, is people who seeing this from the outside saying, okay, well, I got a script, Carrie. Check out this. And I'm using your characters. This is your world. Try me out. and you know, so it's gonna, and so it's not, but it's not that easy. It's not.
No, it's not. Though we do get the weirdest thing that we always get is like people are like, you know, people coming up and offering, you know, to help out, and it's always sweet when they do that, but it's always the weirdest things. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I'll do voice acting for you." And it's like, this is a comic. We don't have any footage to
and like we appreciate the gesture, and I mean it resonates with us to have that sort of support where people are wanting to help. But it's just like, before you offer your services, you gotta be mindful of the context and mindful of like what you're offering. And also, like, I know that Carrie and I have talked about, like, if you're wanting to work, like, provide a portfolio right there. Provide writing samples. Provide voice acting clips and things like that.
Or just give me a business card, something. Yeah. Because, I mean, there's been points where people are like, oh my gosh, I'd love to help you out. And I'm like, hell yeah, sure. Yeah. That'd be great. If we can find a place for you, sure. But, I mean, they don't have a portfolio.
Yeah.
They don't have a website.
And of course we would love to work with them. Yeah. It's just like, it makes us work harder to work with you.
Right.
You know?
Which means it's
like, why do we have to chase you?
Yeah. Which means it takes time away from what we have to be doing with Kamikaze. And I always feel like such an asshole when I say that, but it's just like, you know, we just don't have time for that because we're just busting balls just trying to get the next page out each week. And
I think that's a good piece of advice, not just to work with us or anything, but to work in the creative industry in general. You gotta get examples to them right away. So
that means it's not like if a person's first go around on any kind of project, this is not the place to where you're gonna learn on the go. It's especially for what the vision that you have in mind.
Yeah.
You know, and the vision right now is that you want to do what with Kamikaze Animated?
We want to make it into an animated series. That's what Netflix, the hashtag Netflix Make Kamikaze is all about. And while we understand that, you know, the idea of Netflix, you know, calling me tomorrow, being like, hey, this is us.
I give some background.
Okay, yeah. Let's get some background on that.
Yes.
So, Reed Hastings is the CEO of Netflix, one of the co-owners or co-creators or something like that. And he was at a conference over the weekend, and they basically dropped the fact that, hey, Netflix is looking to make new anime, new Bollywoods, you know, types of stuff. We're looking to expand into other areas, not just live action. And, you know, in thinking of that, it's like, you know, Netflix would be perfect for Kamikaze because it's that older audience, it's that graphic style, it's a really deep story that isn't just this simple surface level cartoon. It takes itself seriously and it takes its audience seriously. It likes to think, the way that when I'm writing this, I'm like, I don't want my audience to feel stupid. Yeah. You know, and I don't think they're going to be stupid. I respect my audience enough to actually think that they're smart and that they can put two and two together.
And Netflix is much more about experimenting with different narratives. Like, they're also much more open to showing women as you know, more important characters, or people of color as more major characters. I mean, you think about Orange is the New Black, House of Cards, even that new Narcos show. I mean, these are all really quality
The Aziz Ansari's is coming out this weekend.
Right. And I think, like, when Ted Sarandos made that announcement, like, a few years ago about how he wanted to be more exploratory with narratives and not get stuck into what broadcast networks are kind of stuck with today, that we decided right after that, like, you know, we would love to get Netflix to produce or somehow distribute Kamikaze, but it seems like the philosophy is really overlapped there.
Not only that, but they give their creative teams a lot of space to do their thing.
Yeah.
I think the one, it was a horror series that they did, something Hollow, and they had just given this horror series, you know, creator. It was based on a book, and they said
Hemlock Grove.
Hemlock Grove, there it is, Hemlock Grove. And you know, while Hemlock Grove was an interesting experiment, it was, you know, it wasn't necessarily my thing, but they gave their their creators the room to create, which meant that it was something very different.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Very unique.
I can't imagine another network doing the kind of shows that Netflix does.
Yeah, because
not saying they're bad, but Netflix does have a much more open, experimental.
Yeah, and so to come from our place of being, we know the story, we know where we want to go with it, we have the style, everything's ready to go, to just have somebody like Netflix say, okay, here's the funding, go make it. I think it would be, again, that is blue skying it to the moon and back.
That's a pipe dream.
But it's a pipe dream, and maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe.
But that's the vision. That's the big vision. Yeah, and that's how the vision you saw when you first created Kamikaze Animated anyway, that you want to make an animation.
Yeah. And we do. We are hoping that eventually we can make it an animated thing. We've talked about integrating animation within the comic itself.
Oh, yeah?
But it's just, it's going to take time. And when, with the Netflix Make Kamikaze hashtag that we have going now, we have people, commenting back to us talking about, how, this is a pipe dream, it's not really going to do anything.
Yeah, so let me chime in. Carrie was saying that, okay, there's going to be a hashtag, it's ongoing, it's Netflix Make Kamikaze. And I just kind of shrugged it off, alright, I'll let the Tupper just whatever
No,
they
I
want.
was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I guess I'll try.
And then, I was like, alright, fine. I went away to do something, and then I came back a couple hours later, and I just decided, let's see how the hashtag is doing. I pull it up on Twitter. All of a sudden, all these tweets came up. Tweets from people I don't know. I'm just like, holy shit.
It's showing up on Pinterest for of all places, Pinterest.
Yeah, it was showing up on Pinterest, Twitter,
Tumblr.
Facebook, Tumblr. It was pretty awesome. And again, it kind of solidified the fact that there are people out there who want to see
something
animated drama for older people.
Yeah, and I mean,
there are fans. There are fans.
There are fans. There are fans that are out there for us. There's an audience out there for us, and there's people who are passionate enough about wanting those things that they're willing to go out and say it straight to Netflix. I mean, for all I know, Netflix can call me tomorrow and be like, "Hey, are you guys the guys with Kamikaze?" And be like, "Yeah." They're like, "Great. Please stop sending us this hashtag." But I mean, I
think the spirit of the hashtag is not so much Netflix. I mean, yes, Netflix is mentioned because of that article and announcement that Reed Hastings did, but it's more, hey, we want to see this thing on TV.
Yeah, and then we've
whoever it is,
and then because of that hashtag, we've had higher, hits on our sites than we've ever had.
Right, because then people see it and noticing it.
More people are seeing it, more people are interested in it, and we're getting.
Who is this? What is Kamikaze?
Yeah, and that was probably the most amazing thing to me. It's still ongoing. The idea is still out there, but we understand that we have to manage those expectations. But it's it's still empowering to see so many people when you think of how many tweets we had and think of all those people in that room, and go, I wouldn't be able to move. I wouldn't be able to go outside on my street because there's so many people doing this.
Right. One day we'll look back on that like, oh.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
like we used to be poor.
Maybe we might still be poor afterwards. But it's something that we definitely we still want to do. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do it in a way that's economical with the comic. Because if we are working on an animated piece to the quality that we want it to be within the comic, at least matching that quality, we're talking months of work where we're not updating the comic. Right. Because we're doing a 5-minute short that's over. I mean, the way that I keep thinking of it is the difference between bottle rockets and the slow build-up. Well, a lot of people tell us, you should just do the animation. Just do the animation. Make it awesome. Put it out there. And I'm like, yeah, but that's like a bottle rocket. It just sort of, you watch it go up and then it explodes and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then this is the slow burn. So this is like the comet slowly coming forward.
Yeah.
And hopefully not exactly.
But and you also get to control the quality because I think that's what, that's why artists want to be in it. That's why a writer wants to be in it. Because then you control the quality. I mean, you could produce a 5-minute short in 6 months, a year, but then who's gonna pay your bills and how you gonna do everything else?
Exactly.
But that's why you build in the momentum and the fan base.
Yeah, and then you also have to keep in mind that The art isn't what we're selling. It's the story. The characters in the story are what we're selling, and those are what people latch onto. Like, I can't tell you how insane it was for me to have our cosplayer come up to me and say, I love Marcasia because I